Welcome to Creating Innovative Uses of Technology. This presentation will expose 2 units of instruction used to promote student learning through the utilization of currently available technologies. Part 1 examines a unit incorporating podcast production as a means to encourage student learning of computer science concepts. Students will be assigned specific issues and topics pertaining to computer science. They then will conduct research and prepare a podcast to post and share with their classmates. The student-produced podcast will be produced throughout the trimester and be made available on a class-sanctioned website in preparation for the final exam. The exam will assess their understanding of computer science in accordance with the Michigan Department of Education's Educational Technology Standards and Expectations for grades 6 through 8. To complete this project, students will require a workstation with internet access, a word processing or presentation program such as Microsoft Word or PowerPoint for writing and storyboarding, and voice recording software like Audacity to capture and edit their narrations. In addition, a community webpage or wiki will be established by the teacher and utilized to collect and distribute the student-produced files for others to use. Teachers aspiring to implement this unit will require an adequately developed understanding of basic computer operations, the ability to effectively utilize research, productivity, and communicative tools to produce and distribute digital content, and possess problem-solving skills in order to identify and successfully troubleshoot arising technology issues. In addition, a teacher will need to know how to simplify the complexity of all processes involved and disseminate the necessary information to students through the use of step-by-step instructions. Student understanding and efficacy can also be improved through the preparation and presentation of teacher-led demonstrations and teacher-produced examples. Students require a minimal understanding of basic computer operations and processes such as word processing, internet browsing and downloading, sound recording and editing, and file saving. In addition, students will be required to implement essential literary skills to develop and organize the written content for their assigned topic. Students will produce podcasts covering specific issues and topics related to computer science. These presentations will be collected and shared with the class in preparation for the semester final exam. The goal of their production is to manufacture a web resource aimed to educate listeners about computer technology and processes. The teacher will plan, produce, and post an outline detailing the information necessary to adequately prepare students for the semester exam. Students will choose or be assigned specific areas of the outline and be responsible to produce its content. Production will first begin by conducting research to develop an understanding of the issue. Once information has been gathered, students will write the dialogue for their podcast. Their writing must include an introduction, a body of content, and a conclusion or summary. The writing will be reviewed and edited by the teacher. After receiving approval for their writing, students will use Audacity to record themselves reading from their developed scripts. After any necessary editing, the recordings will be saved and submitted to the teacher for final review. To ensure the accuracy of the outline's content, the teacher will upload the files to the class webpage or wiki. Podcasting develops a student's ability to utilize current and relevant technological processes for educational purposes. Students learn to develop and refine their thoughts and ideas about an issue to manufacture a product specifically designed to be shared with others. Podcasting shifts instruction from teacher-centered toward learner-centered. The process not only allows students to work collaboratively with one another, but places greater demands on students to be responsible for their own education. Besides the technological requirements and the necessity for students to be proficient with the processes involved, such an endeavor requires students to be capable of producing competent, relevant, and accurate content. Middle school students would need significantly more guidance than those in high school or college. Teachers would need to observe students diligently to ensure they're being productive, rather than using the resources for entertainment purposes. At the onset, podcasting would require the classroom environment to be teacher-centered, as students learn about the processes and intricacies involved in developing podcasts. However, after proving capable, instruction would quickly shift towards student-centered, as students would work individually and collaboratively with one another, as well as cooperatively with the teacher. The processes, uses, and instructional strategies utilized by podcasts are applicable across all content areas. Part 2 examines how a classroom response system can be used to check for student understanding in preparation for the semester exam. Students equipped with a handheld device will actively participate in a classroom review of material produced and covered from Part 1. The review will be a series of questions displayed on a digital whiteboard. The questions are constructed based upon the studied material, and students interact by selecting their answers using their handheld device. The purpose of this unit is to provide students with an opportunity to review for their final exam. Required materials include a presentation assessment, a workstation with digital whiteboard, and a minimal number of handheld devices to satisfy either individual or group participation. Teachers aspiring to implement this unit will require an adequately developed understanding of basic computer operations, including the use of digital whiteboards and handheld devices, the ability to organize and assemble digital presentations, and possess problem-solving skills in order to identify and successfully troubleshoot arising technology issues. In addition, a teacher must properly construct or discover assessment questions that effectively measure students' understanding of the topic being reviewed. Besides the need for understanding the material contained in the review, students require the ability to correctly use the handheld devices in order to participate. Students will interact with one another and the teacher in a classroom setting while reviewing content for the final exam. As questions are posted on the whiteboard, students will have the ability to anonymously answer each one. Polled results are displayed on screen after every student has submitted an answer. This real-time evaluation provides immediate feedback not only to the students but also to the teacher, who can use the information to identify strengths and further address weaknesses. Time allowances are adjustable, and if preferred, the entire questionnaire can be made available to each student individually to allow for self-paced testing. The teacher will plan, produce, and present a digital assessment on a whiteboard. Students equipped with a handheld device will participate by selecting answers to the displayed questions. Students become engaged with this process because it's interactive. Even students who are otherwise distracted become involved because they view using the handheld device as plain, and feedback is nearly instantaneous. Students also actively respond to questions because they know their answers are anonymous. This ambiguity allows them to freely participate without fear of judgment or ridicule from others. For the teacher, results reveal student tendencies and areas of weakness that can be immediately addressed pre-test rather than after the exam has been administered. Besides the time invested to develop and institute such a process, there are no educational disadvantages associated with using handheld devices in the classroom. Identifiable drawbacks are primarily limited to difficulties with the technology. After students become adept with using handheld devices, the classroom environment becomes student-centered. That is, students working individually and collaboratively with one another and with their teacher. The processes, uses, and instructional strategies utilized for classroom response systems are applicable across all content areas. For more information, please visit innovativeusesofTechnology.weebly.com/index.html.